The group, 𝗑𝗧𝗧𝗏. Greetings, dear ones. I am 𝗪𝗠𝗧𝗏 and I am so overjoyed to be with you this day. Understand, of course, that you are the magicians of the game board. We've told you many times, dear ones, that most of you have traveled from 300 years in the future to be here at this junction of time and space. You've moved backwards to be here at this very critical balancing point of planet Earth, and it's a magical time. Although much of what is happening can be viewed as negative, we do not see it that way. Quite simply, that's how humans usually perceive change, because you like to be on a steady course. So, when massive change starts to occur on planet Earth, it can be viewed as a negative. There are difficult things that you'll be working with as these changes come forward. You are humans, many of whom are anchored in duality. There will be bad actors who try to use some of these changes for their own purposes. We laugh about that, because it is simply part of the energies and polarity in which you live. The polarity is now starting to dissipate, although that may seem strange because when you look at the news, that's all you see. There is a pendulum wildly swinging back and forth. It goes far to one side and the other, then it jumps to a new fulcrum and swings at a much lower rate. And you are very close to that now, very close. Dealing with duality. During these times you can come together and gain strength. But there are many things pulling you apart, because that is the nature of living within a field of polarity. You see things as up, down, good, bad, right, wrong, black, white, all the different opposite aspects. The reality is that it's all an illusion. Because your spirit does not have any polarity, it is only your humanness that sees things in this way. Quite simply, you know every being on this planet from home, every single one of them. If you look into someone's eyes and find their spirit, even for just a moment, you make your own life easier and more comfortable. We'll also be working with prosperity, because that is a challenge many people are having with their spirituality on planet Earth. Dear ones, spiritual prosperity is what you have at home all the time. The Earth. The changes that are taking place on planet Earth right now are massive, and the scientist of the heart will explain more about that. We told you some time ago that planet Earth is winding down. Yes, life as you know it is becoming more and more difficult. Although some of you call it global warming, it's also part of an evolutionary process. In reality, you hit the 8 billion mark and planet Earth herself has to make decisions as to what to do. She has to decide whether she is going to shift her energy and try to find a new way of working with all these souls that are weighing down the planet with their physical needs. You require water, food, and have so many other physical needs. Earth loves to support you, but all the pollution and challenges have taken her energy, so she's finding it much more difficult to do that. The weight of 8 billion souls is making a big difference, and it's all happening at the same time that this portal opened. Yes, the portal also means that help is available from other beings throughout the universe. They'll be working with Earth to shift and make some of these changes. Your job as lightworkers on planet Earth, as spiritual beings walking around in these dense physical bodies, is very simple. The more that you can raise your vibration, the less weight you are on her. We've shared before the illustration of being 80% physical being walking around with only about 20% of your spirit guiding the way. Whenever you smile, or you're in your passion and doing what you came to do, you are moving into this higher vibration and it creates less weight on the Earth. Understand, dear ones, that you are successful at this. Those of you who are raising your vibration consciously and are aware the portal is open are taking advantage of that. Our greatest dream would be for you to switch those numbers entirely and have 20% of your physicality weighing upon Earth. That would make her job so much easier. You're on the planet of free choice and dealing with a lot of polarity. As you swing this pendulum violently back and forth, what happens is you get further and further apart because humans have innate biases. One of the biases in your bodysuit is that you don't like to change your mind. Even if you're presented with all kinds of information and proof, you'll tend to stay in your same mindset. That makes change very challenging on a global basis, but still it's happening slowly. Will there be a point where everybody agrees on everything? Absolutely not, because that was never your intent. Your intent was to have diverse views about different things. The shift and the pendulum. The challenge is that everyone is so invested in their own mindset that they've lost connection with others, and that's dangerous. It's a point where humanity can end on planet Earth, if the shifts cannot be survived. As 𝗘𝗏 likes to say, the shift is hitting the fan. Things are changing and shifting very rapidly. During these forceful changes, the masculine energy is being used. And now the feminine energy is rising, which creates a different aspect. You're witnessing racism reappear in different areas, especially in the United States. White supremacy is rearing its ugly head again. Why? Well, that's the pendulum swinging back and forth violently. After all, you did have a black president, didn't you? When the pendulum reaches the furthest point, it stops swinging. We hope you get there very soon, because inclusivity is a huge part of bringing home to planet Earth. You are all connected on the other side. Not only are you connected to every other human being, but you're also connected to every animal. Wouldn't it be wonderful if the animals could come together and talk to the humans? Well, they can if you would only listen. The animals have a different vibration level, and there are actually 144,000 different levels. You have your pets, but then there are also wild animals, large and small animals, with each at a different level. Then consider plant life and geological life, such as the rocks and minerals that make up the planet. And the interesting part about that is they all have consciousness. Have you ever talked to a crystal, the highest vibration of the geological kingdom? Well, you happen to be the highest vibration of the animal kingdom. But that doesn't mean that you can't communicate with the other levels, because you can. We ask you, dear ones, open up to what you can learn from everyone on this planet. None of you individually hold the answers, yet together you hold all the answers. The collective vibration of humanity reduces your weight on the planet, and brings more of your spirit through into your physicality. Help is at hand. You're also starting to receive help, even from the parental races that began this experiment of free choice here on planet Earth. Of course, there is life in billions of places throughout the universe. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are ahead of your evolution. None are reaching the levels of advancement in spirituality that humans have, for you lead the way in that area. Although some of them have been around for a very long time, much longer than humans. Those you see as visitors from outer space are simply dimensional beings that know how to shift dimensions. It's easier than you think, and you'll be learning that in the not too distant future. There are many aspects of this that you will start to become aware of. When you make a connection with some of these beings and are shown those capabilities, you'll start to understand. Now, of course, there is the fear element. Humans don't like change, and the first reaction to it is often fight or flight, depending on how you're wired. We tell you, dear ones, you can hold so much love, and that's what is keeping this portal open. If we had to tell you right at this moment whether this portal was going to stay open or not, we'd say you've got about a 70% chance of keeping it open. We are very, very encouraged, but it's up to you. You are on the planet of free choice. You are the beings with all that density you have to hold. How much love can you carry? How much love can you carry in your density? How much of your spirit can you embed in that energy and vibrate outwards? The scientist of the heart will share more about the planet herself, for she too is evolving. She's experiencing massive vibrational changes, which will certainly affect human life on planet Earth. No, it doesn't have to be like Atlantis or Lemuria. Although interestingly enough, you're now faced with a lot of the same situations. Welcome home, welcome to the new planet Earth. It's with the greatest of honor that I ask you to treat each other with the highest of respect. Nurture one another at every opportunity and play well together in this new game that you are creating. I am 𝗪𝗧𝗢𝗣𝗣𝗟𝗏, the feminine energy of Merlin. Come up and see me sometime. Greetings, dear ones, I am the scientist of the heart. I join you this day with great joy, for we are watching an evolution in progress. Your evolution on planet Earth has made a huge difference and you are moving at an incredible pace. We call it the speed of love, which is slightly faster than the speed of light. The interesting part about this is that things are changing for the Earth herself, and I wish to speak about how these energies can work together and your part in the process. You are part of the Earth and she is a part of you. You often call her your mother, which is a wonderful energy, and she loves that. Planet Earth. Your connection to Earth is very, very strong. Yet often her call is ignored. There are many of you who have been masters of a vortex, taking care of a space which is part of her. Some of you, even without your conscious knowledge, have been holding the energy of planet Earth. It is time for you to claim that, dear ones. You are multidimensional in nature and the walls between dimensions are starting to dissolve, especially with this open portal. The way it looks now is that this portal will remain open, which is partly because of human attributes but also has to do with what the Earth is doing herself. She is opening up while also rejoining other parts of her herself. Your scientists are starting to see a lot of different changes on Earth. Global warming is getting worse, which it will continue to for some time. Although there will be an occasional normalcy, the warming will continue to move forward. This can be very detrimental not only to human life, but to plant life and all the other life forms which are interconnected. However, the evolution into your spirituality makes it possible to survive and even move past it without great physical difficulties. So, this is why we're encouraging you to connect with your spirit, to find your passion, and to move into that energy. The Earth is wobbling. The Schumann resonance involves the amount of lightning on the planet at any one moment. The resonance between the ionosphere and the surface of the Earth is a space where the energy bounces back and forth. And as you're starting to set new records, it shows how much the Earth is changing and evolving. The Schumann resonance hit new highs. Recently your scientists have also become aware of the Earth's wobble, which is very important. We first brought it up in 2008 and again in 2011, then year after year. We not only talked about the Earth finding a new balance, but we also talked about the reason why, the redistribution of water. This is happening today and it's more pronounced than even a short time ago. This redistribution simply means that as the amount of rainfall or water changes in some areas, droughts or floods form. Rising sea levels is another part of this, but the sea levels do not all rise simultaneously. It takes a long time for that energy to balance out. Water redistribution and Earth's wobble. In some areas so much water has been taken out of the aquifers that the surface of the Earth has receded. You're seeing that happen on more broadly now, such as in the middle of California. People have drawn water out of the ground for so many years, that the middle of California has been sinking at a rate of 2.5 feet each year and now it's starting to drop even faster. You're taking a tremendous amount of water out of the Earth to feed your crops, to feed yourselves, and for all the other things you're doing. Consider that just 1 pound of beef takes almost 38 gallons of water to produce, or that almond production in California is also draining the aquifers. In these examples, the redistribution of water is happening underneath the Earth's surface. And NASA recently figured out that the Earth is beginning to wobble. She's always been on an axis, which has been slightly off-center by 23 degrees. Your different seasons are based on the Earth's relationship to the Sun, which is why you have warm summers and cold winters. Depending on where you are, that wobble takes you further away from it. As the Earth's wobble is increasing, it's also changing the seasons of Earth. So, you've got the Schumann resonance, which hit new highs that indicate change. Then you have the wobble of planet Earth and the redistribution of water. That's why Earth is experiencing massive weather events, such as tornadoes and hurricanes. Superstorms are moving inordinate amounts of water almost overnight, and it's happening more and more. Magnetic poles are shifting. The magnetosphere continually changes. Actually, the magnetic poles of Earth have always moved. Your magnetic north is not the same as true north. It's actually moved as much as 10 miles a year on a fairly regular basis, but last year it moved 42 miles. But you're not having to recalculate anything that you're using for navigation, because you rely on satellites and GPS rather than compasses. But your magnetic field is beginning to reduce and change. The North and South poles have switched at least 6 times that you're aware of, and the Sun changes poles every 12 years as it goes through solar maximum. The Sun's cycle begins again by going into solar minimum. As you move into solar maximum, which you are now, solar flares occur that charge the Earth with all sorts of energies that you know very little about. Some of these flares are quite powerful and they charge you as well. The magnetic north is starting to move at a faster pace, but is it a polar shift? Yes, it is, but it won't happen right away. But it's adding more stress to the planet, as Earth is making massive shifts to be able to support the 8 billion souls that now weigh her down. You are innately a part of Earth, inseparable. So, you can make a massive impact for her as well. And we'll show you several different ways that you can do this. Most of you know just simply paying attention to her, taking a walk in the woods to refresh yourself and honor nature, being mindful of how you pollute, use energy and water, can all work with her to help in this process. The polar shift happens once roughly every 300,000 years, so you're currently 480,000 years overdue for one. You're starting to see signs of it, so watch for valid information. We say that because there will also be all sorts of conspiracy theories about this. Both NASA and the European Space Administration, ESA, are talking about this, so you can find information freely available on their websites. But how does that really affect you? Do you need to worry about it? We tell you, dear ones, a lot of things are going to be happening in your lifetime, and it's why you're here. It's the reason that many of you came back from 300 years in the future to try and make a difference. Most of you don't have any memories of that, but that's as it should be. It wouldn't be appropriate for you to remember that, yet your heart carries that energy and you know the way home. Yes, dear ones, you know the way out of this. Many of you can have a huge effect on planet Earth just by following your heart. That's why we ask you, how much love can you hold for each other and for every part of your experience? What if you learn to love the difficulties in your life? What if you learn to look at things in a different way? And what if you even learn to look at some of the changes happening on planet Earth by shifting into love rather than fear? You are creator beings, each and every one of you. There are also massive changes with technology, such as artificial intelligence. And yes, many things will hit your societies like a tidal wave that you've never seen before. Radio and television changed your world, and then later you discovered computers and the cell phone. All of these have had massive effects on humanity. And even if you combine them all, they didn't make nearly the difference that artificial intelligence will, so brace yourself. But there are things you can do, so first of all know that there are certainly bad actors on planet Earth who will try to use artificial intelligence for nefarious purposes, because you live in a field of duality. But look for the ways that you are alike instead of the ways you are different. Social media is causing much of this division, but don't let the technologies separate you. It's very simple, you've put yourself in a house of mirrors that reflects the things that you like. The algorithms aim to sell you things or influence you in such a way that you lose sight of the larger aspect of humanity. We're not telling you that can't use social media, only to become aware that there are people trying to influence you one way or the other. It's time to widen the breadth of your awareness. That part is coming very quickly, and it will help you work with artificial intelligence. The people who created artificial intelligence are very worried about its effect, and most of them would take back their own discoveries if they had the chance. But there's no putting the genie back in the bottle. It doesn't work that way. You're at a similar point to when you were in Atlantis, where you discovered all sorts of things. You've learned about cloning and genetic control, but you believe that those beings do not have a spirit or soul because you made them. Well, you also made artificial intelligence, did you not? It's going to be interesting to see where you go with this. But keep in mind you are creator beings. Yes, artificial intelligence can upset your world drastically, and it probably will for a short time. But the reality is that it also holds the capability of discovering how to solve many of the Earth's problems. These are wonderful times, dear ones. Are they difficult? Yes, of course they are. You humans do not play games just to have fun, you're here for a purpose. You've put yourself at exactly this junction of time and space so that your heart can be felt. Many of you don't know exactly what to do from here, and you think some of these things are beyond your understanding. Well, they are also beyond the understanding of most of the people who create laws on your planet. Your technologies have moved so incredibly swiftly during this time, in part because you were given assistance from some of your brother and sister beings from other dimensions. Some of them even helped to create your planet, as your game on planet Earth created the Holocene. The Holocene, which is now over, was that 10,000-year period of a 1-degree temperature change on planet Earth. You're now at 1.5 degrees, and if you exceed that, the apple cart will be drastically upset. Yes, you are heading toward that at record speed. All these changes could be seen as very bad news, and yet you put yourself here to make a difference. The first piece we ask you to do is to connect with each other. You're not all going to have the same view. Some of you will argue about things, but it doesn't make any difference. The first thing to do is connect. You're not looking for everyone to agree with you, you're looking to connect spirits. And when you do that, the magic starts to unfold. You start to see things from the perspective of a spirit, rather than the very limited narrow view of a human. Finally, your polarized vision will start to fade away, which is one of the biggest pieces, because you're being separated in so many different ways. What happens when people want to control you? Well, they point fingers and say, "Hear what's causing all of your problems, this person or that race of people." But that's nonsense, absolute nonsense, because you're all part of each other. So, break down those barriers as best you can. Find that energy and hold as much love in your heart, especially for those who think differently than you. Most of them aren't interested in being educated or changing their point of view. But when you connect spirit to spirit, it all changes. And sometimes that's simply looking at someone, seeing their spirit and smiling. Do you know how much difference you can make on planet Earth with a single smile? You leave a trail of light behind you with every step that you take on the planet consciously. Make it full of love and you'll start to change this planet. When you see what you call bad news on television, such as that the world's falling apart, just say, "Good, I know I'm here for a reason and we will have a positive outcome." You are creative beings, so if you project a positive outcome, you will set that into motion. It's very simple, work with it because you are the magical beings. You are the greatest angels that have ever lived. It's why you're here, welcome home. It's with the greatest of honor that we ask you to treat each other with respect. At every opportunity, nurture one another and play well together, as you evolve this game that you're playing. I am the scientist of the heart. 𝗣𝗢𝗢𝗣𝗡, dear ones. The group.